I performed an experiment. I went out to over 50 sailing-related social media sites on various platforms and looked at well over 200 images or videos. And you'll never guess what I saw. I think my premonitions were right. And some of what I found was, well, hang on, you'll see. And you may even agree. If you've even been taking little peeks at the universe of information that we call the internet lately, you'll know what I mean by AI-generated content. It seems as if every day there is more and more content created by what is called generative artificial intelligence, or we just lump it all together with the term AI. While AI by this definition is a gross oversimplification, I'll use the term in this video for whenever a video and or audio is artificially modified or generated. What I discovered was about half of the content I saw was AI generated. Some of the AI content I found was so poorly generated that it's easy to determine that it's AI. I even created some of my own, and it's downright funny. Take a look. Boats going backwards, crew members waving hands for no reason, waves going sideways. I think it's important to remember that all AI content comes from a model, not from reality. I like to think of these clips as being created by a computer model that is trying to figure out what sailing is by looking through a small pinhole in a piece of paper. I also think it's important to keep in mind what a famous statistician said. All models are wrong, but some are useful. This is AI, and it's also true that the model generally gets better the larger and more refined the data source gets. Some of the AI videos I saw were far better than the really silly ones you just saw. I had to look really closely to see something that the AI model got wrong. I think it's fair to say that as the models get better, it gets harder and harder to determine authenticity. Having been involved in AI development for some years, I have a few ideas I'd like to add that I think can help. There are two terms I'd like to use that I think define what we're dealing with. The first is the word illusion. An illusion is what a magician creates. They play with our conception of reality and make something magical happen. But the reality is not altered. We ask the question, how did you do that? We ask this because we understand that an illusion represents how we are seeing something, not that the reality has actually changed. I consider poorly generated AI to be an illusion. We can tell that it isn't real. But the second term is almost spelled the same, gets confused a lot with illusion, but oh, it has such a different meaning. Delusion. A delusion is a belief in some altered reality. In other words, we are believing something that is not or cannot be reality. The delusion happens within us. For example, we could be delusional that a magician's illusion is reality. Now, why in the world do I think this is important to understand for sailing videos of all things? And before I answer that, I want to be clear that I'm not somehow against AI. I've worked in AI for many decades with neural networks and machine learning. And the truth is, all of us use or benefit from AI in one form or another daily, whether we recognize it or not. While it has lots of media hype and is currently advancing spectacularly, it is not new, not going away, and has already served up many huge advancements in science that improves our daily lives. The problem, I believe, is when we become delusional about what we see in AI content. Much of the AI modification is for pure entertainment. We can see the hilarious mistakes that the stupid computer model makes. Or perhaps it's intentionally made to be cartoonish. We can see that right away. But there are two bigger problems that I see. First is that with so much deceptive AI content, we become skeptical of everything, including the real content. And just like the Descartes thought experiment of centuries ago, I believe this will create a cultural hurdle that we will need to overcome in time. The second problem is that some of the really good AI content is delusionally believed, but in reality impossible or wrong, and in fact exudes really bad advice. I saw one AI-generated video that had absolutely catastrophic advice about anchoring, for example. Another one was about docking, a pure disaster if done as the computer says. Now, as I said earlier, there's really no way AI will be stopped or even policed. It really comes down to us to determine when we see something visually, is it real or not? Before, we didn't have to pay as much attention to that. When we looked at film, we could be pretty sure that it came from an actual occurrence. What was in the film could have been an illusion, but the film itself represented something that was actually present, not usually a source of delusion. And those days are over. I'm just saying that we have to keep all of this in mind as we watch sailing videos. Things are not always as they appear. Be especially careful of becoming delusional about what you see. I also believe that being too skeptical is also a delusion. And I'm interested in your take on this as well. What have you seen and how do you deal with it? Does AI help you, confuse you, or fool you? I've had some of my sailing students certainly get caught up in it. Maybe I'm overstating my concern. Or am I understating it? What do you think? All I can say is that Sailing Team Tally-Ho will never use generative AI, either for video or audio, especially to create a delusion. And I know that this will make my channel much less sensationalized, and as a result, unfortunately, much less popular. But that's okay. My objective in creating this content is to be realistic, not necessarily popular. But maybe that means that channels that have real content like mine will eventually fade away into obscurity. If you like this content, please click like and subscribe. I do appreciate it. And on the bright side, I'll have tons of real non-AI sailing footage in the future. Thanks for watching.